Welcome to Sex Positive Gaming. I'm Annie, and today we're going to look at 10 of the top Femdom games. Femdom is where the main character is dominated by a female character, or a female main character is dominant to others. All of the links I talk about will be available to access on my Patreon page. First up is Sanguine Rose. I covered this dark fantasy visual novel earlier this week. In it, you play as the mercenary Roman, where you and your team have captured the enemy general, Carmen Valentine. Let's just say you are way in over your head. Check out the full review for the details. Next up is Corruption of Champions 2. This highly customizable text-based RPG was recommended to me by a lot of gamers. This game takes place in a magical realm that is full of corruption and conflict. You are able to win encounters through martial prowess or seduction. If you lose a battle, the game does not end, you are just sexually dominated by the victor. This makes for a journey full of power exchange, dominance, and submission. There are also furry, corruption, fuda, trans, gay, lesbian, heterosexual, monster, monster girl, religion, BDSM, impregnation, and humiliation flavors to choose from in this game. Depending on the choices you make and how you fight, this can be a very submissive experience, a highly dominant one, or anything in between. I will warn you that this is an extremely text-heavy experience. We're talking like Homer-spouting epic prose level of text. That's amazing for immersion, but for those looking for a more instant gratification type of experience, this is probably not the game for you. Corruption of Champions 2 is available on Steam for PC, and I will link to the Patreon as well as to the official page for free downloads that includes an Android build. Next up is Pandora's Box. In this visual novel, you play as a couple in an open relationship. Each character has their own desires, motivations, and gameplay mechanic. For the girlfriend, it's corruption, and for the boyfriend, submission. This is a recently completed title, and as you progress through the game, each character really seems to feel more and more powerless in the face of increasingly dominant antagonists and situations. The flavors in this game include corruption, domination, exhibitionism, feet, lesbian, heterosexual, NTR, impregnation, and power exchange. The character renders are great, and the animations of sexual interactions are excellent, and have sounds. Your choices are always color-coded, so you can control how deep down this rabbit hole you want to journey. There is a hidden lesbian set for the girlfriend, but it's easy to reach if you constantly choose female interactions when given the choice. The story in this game does sometimes feel like a fever dream, like you can seriously have a relationship with what I'm pretty sure is the mascot of Wendy's. But this surreal experience doesn't detract from the game as long as these are your flavors. Pandora's Box is available for free on the PC, Mac, and Android. I'll link to the developer's Patreon where you can download the game and check out the sequel, Pandora's Box 2. Next up is Estate Dominate. This visual novel is about you and your not-sister going to work for a female CEO who only has one job requirement: absolute obedience. I mean, I know that humiliation is a flavor, but Heather is so sweet and innocent, I just feel so bad that I can't be on equal loving terms with her. Yeah, it's obvious that I'm never gonna be a dominatrix. Anyways, the flavors in this game are corruption, domination, BDSM, water sports, power exchange, humiliation, and mean people. I know this is a new flavor, but I think it's important to know what you're getting into. The renders and lighting are fantastic. The music is excellent and changes based on the context of the game, but there are no sounds of sexual interactions. Estate Dominate is available on PC and Mac, and I'll link to the Patreon. Sorry, there's currently no official Android port. Next up is Trials in Tainted Space. This is another text-adventure RPG from the same developer as Corruption of Champions 2. I would love to say this huge game is completed, but it seems like there will be new updates forever. That's not a bad thing, but you are in for a very long and involved experience. This is a science fiction game about dominating or being dominated. I'm also pretty sure that everything in this highly mutable adventure can get pregnant. Just assume that just about every flavor is in this game. What you encounter and how it plays out is completely up to your playstyle. This is an older title, and while free to play, its age does show. I'll link to the Patreon and to the main site where you can play in browser or download for PC and Android. Next up is Dream Therapy. This is actually a trilogy of visual novels where you start as a male playing as a female in a virtual reality environment as part of the therapy your mother of your fiancé requires you to go through before you can get married. You know what, I'm not even gonna try to explain this one. If the flavors sound cool to you, try it out. Speaking of flavors, there are corruption, heterosexual, lesbian, gay, mind control, humiliation, BDSM, and maybe trans depending on how you look at it. I mean, the series has some levels of meta going on here. The models and backgrounds are decent, but kinda look lifeless. There are also animated scenes of sexual interactions that are silent. The concept of this game is actually really interesting. These 3 titles are all available on PC, Mac, and Android, and I'll link to the Patreon. Next up is an awesome title that has never ever gotten me in trouble with YouTube, Fuda Fix Dick Dine and Dash. This is a story-driven visual novel that is about as cute and adorable as you can get with a femdom flavor. There's lesbian, toys, transformation, and Fuda in the slice-of-life dating sim experience. There is voice acting, and the sexual interactions are fully animated with sounds. The music is fun and upbeat just like the story is. This Steam title is available on PC and Mac, and I'll link to the Patreon. Next up is Sweet Dream Succubus Nightmare Edition. This is a visual novel about, well, being dominated by a succubus. Will you succumb to the constant onslaught? Flavor-wise, this is corruption, outfits, monster girls, exhibitionism, and toys. The art is awesome and the music is dreamy. The more corrupted you become, the border of the game begins to change. There are some gameplay issues in that there are no saves, no skipping, no gallery, and no back option. For a game with multiple endings, that is definitely a downside. The Nightmare Edition is available on Steam, and I'll link to their website where you can play the regular version in a browser. Next up is Escalation. I've covered this adorable femdom BDSM game previously. You play as a masochist and your girlfriend is a sadist, and, well, the two of you go together like peanut butter and dripping candle wax. This is a game where the MC is being trained by their girlfriend with BDSM, power exchange, humiliation, and heterosexual flavors. The art is adorable and it feels like an interactive manga. This is a PC title available on Steam that also has a demo available. And last, we have Tales of Androgyny. This RPG adventure asks that you check your preconceived notions of gender and sexuality at the door. Consider this a free-for-all. Flavor-wise, you can expect corruption, fantasy, Fuda, furry, monster, monster girl, and I'm really not sure how to classify the whole heterosexual, lesbian, gay flavors. I mean, I think you probably get the idea by now, so check it out for yourself if you're still interested. The lighting and backgrounds give the game a real fantasy feel. The art is hand-drawn, but still has that pixelated aesthetic, and the sexual interactions are really well done. The music is varied and good, with each scene having an appropriate musical feel. Tales of Androgyny is available on PC, Mac, and Android, and I'll link to the public builds on itch.io as well as the Patreon. There you have it. For those who like it, I hope everyone could find their favorite flavor of femdom, be it happy, silly, or mean. Let me know which games you like the most. Did I miss one that should have been on here? And no, I was never gonna put Mass Effect on this list, I don't care how badass FemShep is. Anyways, keep letting me know what you think, and remember, no shaming, just gaming.